Today brings us to inspiration tactic number 10 for you to begin listening active. Let's go through this. When you have a scenario where your sales team or sales team member is unmotivated, unproductive, and maybe needs more of a sense of direction, and you feel like you've tried everything, from motivational speeches to target-based incentives, but sometimes nothing appears to work. This tactic today we're going to talk about will often be the game changer. The solution to all those ills may be as simple as actively listening to your sales team. The truth is that active listening can make all of the difference in inspiring and motivating salespeople. It's in this tactic we delve into the impact of active listening for sales success. We're going to explore how it can help build trust and commitment with teams, empower salespeople to excel, and certainly boost performance. Active listening is not just about hearing what your salespeople are saying, but also understanding, truly listening and understanding their perspectives, their emotions, their intention, be able to read them better through your ears. It's a powerful way of showing your sales team that you value their opinion, that you respect them as individuals, builds trust. It creates an environment where their views are considered. You can build trust within your sales team, and by all that, you can increase their commitment to achieving their goals. Remember, they work for you, not the company. Their success is all incumbent on their relationship, trust, and respect for you, how hard they want to work for you. And that's what all this inspirational sales manager stuff is about. I cannot tell you how important this is. The impact of active listening can manifest in various ways, such as enhancing collaboration and problem-solving skills. When you actively listen to your sales team, you create this space where they feel comfortable in expressing themselves. You become their soft place to fall. They trust that they can come and bring you ideas and issues. And you're going to listen, probably do something about it. Who doesn't want open and honest conversations with their sales team? That's only going to help identify the root cause of problems and help you and them find solutions that'll work for everybody. Furthermore, when you acknowledge their input, it gives them a sense of ownership. You're making them part of the solution. Their opinion counts. That they're investing in the decision-making process. That's a team. We're all part of it. We're all solving the issues and being part of the bigger picture. And the key to becoming a successful sales manager, an inspirational sales manager, lies in your ability to listen and engage in a meaningful dialogue with your sales team. Very often, if not almost always, sales managers fall into the trap of creating monologue, telling them what to do, tell them how to do it, tell them when to do it. And if you can avoid that common mistake of dominating conversations and instead actively listening to your sales team, you can create an environment of trust and collaboration. And this fosters open discussions, problem solving, and ultimately will boost performance. And by focusing on your improvement, again, they're only as good as you, your improvement of this leadership skill, you can avoid potential misunderstandings and ensure that everybody's on the same page. That can save you countless hours of wasted time, energy, frustration, resources, misdirections, write-ups, tough conversations. Active listening is a great investment, a reinvestment of your time. You can spend more time on productive endeavors. And most importantly, being a good listener, it's all about the relationship. It builds that strong relationship with your sales team. They will work really hard for you. They believe in you, that you together create this synergy of sales success, and they're going to achieve at either an exceptional level, an average level, or not achieve at all. It's going to depend on you as their inspirational leader. Moreover, this active listening concept, it allows you to tap into every inherent strength of your sales team. You'll find the patterns because every salesperson has the unique abilities. They have talents and skills that can be leveraged to achieve team goals. We all have strengths on a team. Find theirs, listen to them, involve them. And that way you can identify their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential, make them feel really good and confident about themselves. This approach inspires and motivates salespeople to perform at their best. The transformational triangle of change and improvement. Work on you. It's going to impact them, improve them, which is going to improve your outcome. It's also going to increase job satisfaction and better retention rates. Who likes to continuously have to hire new salespeople? Not me and not you. Active listening is a crucial skill that, when mastered, will significantly impact your sales success. I promise you. By actively listening to your sales team, you can build trust, motivate them, prevent miscommunication, and empower them. Even if you're not a sales manager, you're a business leader with a sales team. It's essential to develop this skill set, learning to listen. Very often, you're going to need to learn to ask questions, be curious, probe. And then from all that, you're going to get the opportunity most times to provide some constructive feedback or improved direction. Because when you implement this effectively, this can be a super powerful tool leading to all the things you want to improve. So listen up to this tactic today and watch your sales team soar. Now, first, you may ask, what are some signs? How do I know I have a strained relationship, a lack of respect, or there's a lack of trust between you, the sales manager, and your sales team? Well, think about this. Sometimes it's hard to gauge when you're judging yourself, but dig deep. Think about these. Decreased communication. When you don't have a lot of communication, minimal communication with your sales team, it's infrequent or it's purely transactional. It's a strong sign that there are some underlying issues in your relationship with that individual or with your team. There's a lack of engagement. If they're going home at 5 o'clock every day, they often come in late or right on time. They're not going the extra mile. If your team members are disengaged, maybe during meetings, they're not really paying attention, call on them and they, what are we talking about? Often they avoid contributing to ideas. Nope, I've got nothing. Or they don't ask questions. Overall, they appear to be indifferent. Well, that's going to be a key indicator of a lack of respect or trust. Generally can be fixed with our topic today. If you find yourself facing frequent misunderstandings, constant misunderstandings, miscommunications, that suggests there may be a breakdown in your communication skills and creating a mutual understanding, which active listening dramatically improves. Increased turnover, absenteeism. If that's higher than normal or higher than what you're comfortable with, if you don't have a 80, 90, close to 100% turnover rate, or if you have people who are constantly being absent or really just have that I don't give a flip attitude about things, even though you talk to them and you warn them, gotta be here on time, you got to go in the extra mile, and they just don't do it, that's a strong signal of dissatisfaction, lack of respect and trusting. If they resist feedback, if they resist coaching, when salespeople are defensive or dismissive towards your feedback or even other people's feedback, it's a key indicator that there's a lack of respect. And whatever the manager thinks or says is being misjudged. If they feel like they're being judged unfairly, it's a lack of respect, generally due to a lack of active listening, low morale. Signs of this, like a negative attitude, a lack of enthusiasm, or acting bored or disengaged or not very motivated. They openly complain about even the most minute things. All they do is complain. I know you want to hear these complaints, but yeah, there's sometimes it goes overboard. That strongly suggests that there's a relationship that's strained. If they're displaying a behavior of avoidance, if team members avoid one-on-one interactions, if they tend to want to avoid meetings with you, or they delay their responses to your communication, or you just don't talk to them much, they don't reach out to you. When you call them to check in on them, they just don't have much to say. You may have a lack of trust and respect. And if you can recognize these signs, admit to these signs, yeah, it's crucial. It's crucial that you need to begin addressing and improving the relationship dynamics, that you need to begin building better trust and respect, which frankly requires constant effort, but it also requires open communication and genuine commitment to understanding and supporting your team members. Active listening will have a dramatic positive influence on that. Here's a few more signs for you to go look in the mirror. Signs that you might need to be working on this to improve your active listening skills. If they're interrupting you, cutting you off, or more important, if you catch yourself doing this, if you only listen long enough for you to jump in and give them the advice, tell them what to do so you can move on quickly and efficiently, cutting off a salesperson before they finish speaking indicates a lack of patience and a lack of respect for their input. In order to get respect, you have to give respect. If while they're speaking to you or bringing you an issue or talking to you, if your body language shows disinterest, they're going to translate that and that you don't really care. So if you're crossing your arms or you're looking at something else while they're talking, or you're engaged in doing something else, if you check your clock or you check your phone while they're speaking with you, yeah, you're really not fully engaged, or at least that's what you're telling them. If you quickly jump to conclusions, you catch yourself jumping to conclusions, and may even from time to time later on find out that you were wrong with your conclusion. If you're assuming you know what the salesperson is going to say and you finish their statement for them, or you finish their question for them, you start forming responses before they finish. Now, that's very frustrating for them and a strong sign that you don't respect them. It also messes you up because you're going to miss details. You're going to miss some of the nuances that often you're going to need to know. There's more to the story. There's more to the situation. There's more to the sell. If you do that, please pay attention. This is similar to the last one, but if you provide solutions too quickly, active listening is about understanding and empathizing and not immediately solving their problems, not immediately solving their problems. When you're rushing to offer solutions so you can get it off your list, get them out of your office, well, you're making people feel unheard. And that is a very deep human need, is to be heard, their opinions to count, their thoughts to be respected. If you're not asking follow-up questions, probing questions, if you're failing to ask for clarification or additional details, that shows that you may not be fully processing what's being shared with you. You can't manage your emotion, your frustration, or at least displaying your emotions or frustrations. If you display irritation or impatience, such as sighing, rolling your eyes, well, that's going to be very discouraging to the salesperson ever sharing things openly with you, because you're disregarding them. If you find yourself repeating the same responses, using generic or canned responses, they've heard it before and they're still asking it, you haven't really answered their question. You haven't really resolved their issue. So active listening allows you to tailor your feedback, get all the nuances, probe into that issue or that situation, truly help them out. Now, it's really important for you to acknowledge, if you are a man in general, you got to put that in there, you're going to naturally face active listening challenges. It's the way we're wired. Research has shown over and over again, check it out, that men are so task-oriented and solution-focused. Well, that will often interfere with their ability to listen empathetically and attentively. I already know the answer. Let me just tell you, and let's get out of here and get going. I got things to do, people. This takes a little longer. Yes. Another stat I repeat frequently: 70% of most managers' time, especially sales managers' time, is spent on the outcomes of underperformance. Active listening and investment and taking the time and really probing and listening to your sales team members allows you to reduce the amount of time that you have to spend that is unproductive. That's what active listening brings to the table. And if you recognize this natural tendency, embrace it, own it, know it. Often in a group of people will, especially when it's males and females, I'll bring this topic up, and every woman in the room will have kind of a Cheshire cat grin on their face, nod their head, because they know it. Women are naturally designed to listen a little better. Not all of them, but they're wired a little better to listen. So you need to be conscious of your listening habits. Hey, guys, have you ever had a significant female in your life ever say to you, "You don't listen to me"? Yeah, it's because you don't. Start working on this. And remember, active listening is not about solving their problems for them. It's about being present, fully present, understanding their perspective, and then providing support and guidance that empowers them to find their own solutions. That's the display of trust. That's the display of respect. That's collaborating, involving them, making them a part of things, making them connected to the purpose. And if you will be honest with yourself, whether you're on a 1 to a 5 on 5 being expert scale, be honest with yourself. And if you have any or all of some of these signs and outcomes of your lack of active listening skills, stay with me here. I'm going to give you some great ideas, some best practices on how to use this skill to be a much more inspirational sales manager. So here's step one. This is hard because it's a natural human tendency, but keep your perceptions to yourself. Hear the person out. Really listen. You have to train yourself to do this. Silence your predetermined bias. Silence your internal voice that's telling you to wait for a gap and just jump in and tell them why they're wrong or what they need to do. That's a predetermined bias. That is a very self-limiting bias and a very poor behavior if you want to be an exceptional sales manager. Check yourself. Do not defend or minimize their issues. It's a big issue to them or they wouldn't be bringing it to you. You cannot diminish that. Respect that it is important to them. Even if you feel that way, you need to keep that to yourself. And the goal during one of these interactions is keep that in check and ask questions. Probe the questions. Who, what, when, where, how, why, so that you can gain a full understanding of their issue or their suggestion or their situation. How do you know you're doing that? Well, let it flow 80-20. Allow the salesperson to lead the discussion and you listen. And the only time you speak is to ask clarifying questions. They speak 80% of the time and you listen and only create 20% of the words spoken. Oh, I know that's a hard thing to ask, but do you want the powerful benefit of this tactic or not? And it is super powerful. Focus on what is being said, maybe sometimes not said by the salesperson. How it's being said. What's the emotion, the impetus behind this? Let them flow. Let them go rather than you just waiting for your turn to speak. Fix the situation. Let's get out of here. No, 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 no. There's another great way for you to show respect. And I'll tell you at the end, another key point to this, and that's paraphrase. Once you feel like you've drained them of their information, at the end of the conversation, repeat back your understanding of what they said to you. Paraphrase what you understood in communication. Clarify that you have it right before you say anything, before you comment, before you put your 2 cents in. Restate back to the salesperson in your own words what the salesperson just communicated. Listen. Ensure the salesperson gets the chance to tell you clearly whether you got it and got it right. Let me demonstrate. So Sal, here's what I heard. That you feel like these meetings we have on Mondays are kind of a waste of time. And they're a waste of time because, I don't know, it's just a download of stats and a butt whooping every week. And that you feel fairly unmotivated, maybe demoralized from this Monday meeting. Did I get all that right? Now, that's a bit of an extreme, but that's how you paraphrase. Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Did I get that right? Always say that, did I get it right? Because if you didn't, you want them to correct you. If you left something out, you want them to correct you. This is just like discovery in a great sales process. You wait to the end of the discussion to do this. Don't interrupt them with paraphrasing throughout the discussion. Wait till the end. Wait to the very end. You don't want to paraphrase, 20 times. Do it at the end. It's very powerful. And it shows you listened. It's this all of a sudden this real sign that you were paying attention. And while they're speaking to you, you want to make sure you're acknowledging that you're listening, that you're getting them, that you're hearing them, but verbal or even nonverbal cues, not in your head. The more they speak, the more you learn. When you start getting in this too repetitive part of one of these discussions, it's okay for you to say, well, listen, Sal, I've heard that same thing multiple times from you now. I get it. Can we get to the bottom of this? Tell me more about what causes that or the situation. Redirect them a little bit. That's fine, but do it with respect, humbleness. And as I've said throughout, probe, ask for them to share more. Tell me more about that. How long has that been going on? Why do you think that's happening? What did you do? What did you say? How long has this been going on? It keeps them going. Ask yourself whether you have any doubt about what's being said by this salesperson. And if you have any doubt, if you are not 100% sure you got it all, ask them for help and understanding. Help me understand. And for sure, underlying all of this is being open-minded. Try to be open to their view, especially if it differs from how you see things or what you've heard, even what you've seen. Don't judge them too quickly. And don't judge them based on your own experiences or expectations. We're all unique to ourselves. They may process information, this profile, they may process information differently than you. They may be a little slower at certain, may be a little faster at other things. They may have been in an emotional state that would make them react or hear or respond different. Never, ever, ever be dismissive. Ever. What's important to them, if it's important enough for them to bring it to you, you need to treat it with the same level of importance. It means listening with attention, respect, takes effort. You do that, you get really good at it. You will inspire your sales team. Otherwise, they're going to feel tuned out. And at the end of the day, that's how your salespeople will feel unless you are sincerely engaging and active listening. Do not tune them out. Don't be too rushed. And ask yourself, this is a key behavior checklist. Ask yourself if you demonstrate any of these following, which are indicators that you are not actively listening. During conversations, you already know what they're going to say. You need the salesperson to get to the point. You show an expression that can indicate, I don't have time for this. Could you get done, get this over with? You've heard a story. If you're processing in your mind instead of listening, if you're thinking too much about how to respond, you're going to respond like, oh my God, I've heard this story 100 times. I know how this ends. Or you've heard a dozen excuses just like this before. Or you already know what's realistic and what's being said is not realistic. Hey, it may not be, but listen anyway. You're going to have to work with them to understand how they're being unrealistic. Drain their energy. If you sometimes think, how many times am I going to hear this? I've heard this same request a dozen times. and you already know how you're going to deal with this. Catch yourself. You don't want to go there. Even that's how you strongly feel. Being a good sales leader is sometimes being a good actor, and you don't get to have bad days. Now, how do I overcome all this? How do I fix it? How to become a master at active listening? Well, now that we've talked about some of the missteps, let's talk about some of the challenges to overcoming it. Ask yourself if you demonstrate any of the following indicators, assuming you already know what the salesperson is saying. If you do that, approach each conversation with an open mind. Check yourself. That's your trigger. Pull it back and open your mind. Even if you think you know the direction or the outcome, I've heard this story before, I've heard this problem before. Listen, catch yourself before you respond, or your body or your eyes show otherwise. Listen before you fully form a conclusion. If you feel like you're wanting the salesperson to get to the point, catch yourself, redirect your mindset to allow the salesperson to express their thoughts completely. Be patient and resist this urge to rush them. This shows respect and can reveal, maybe from their standpoint, some more nuanced insights. You may learn something. Even if you don't, let them complete their thoughts. Don't interrupt it. Don't dismiss them. And watch your facial expressions. If you are thinking it, you're usually showing it. So that's the importance of you not thinking it. Redirect your natural thoughts or your behavioral thoughts. The habits that you've had in the past need to be changed and improved. So maintain a neutral thought, and you will generally maintain a neutral or encouraging facial expression. Keep good eye contact, and that all is going to convey that you're engaged and you're interested. If you ever feel like you assume you know the story and its outcome, treat each story or situation as unique. First time you've heard it. That's being a good actor. That's redirecting your thoughts. When you get triggered like this, I just got triggered. Let me get into active listening. You need to act like it's the first time you ever heard it. And if you feel like that you're dismissive towards repeated excuses, yeah, it can be frustrating to hear these same excuses over and over again, but you need to be an actor again. You need to listen without judgment. Ask more questions. Let them drain their energy. Jiu-jitsu, the martial arts of sales leadership. And then often by you listening to them and them expressing themselves and asking questions, they will understand for themselves. They'll solve it themselves. They'll see themselves what the underlying issue is. And man, does that take pressure off of you. And if they're coming to you and you feel like this is an unrealistic statement, no way. No way that's true. Instead of immediately following your emotion, keep it in check. Don't dismiss what they say as you know or you believe is unrealistic. Stop yourself, ask probing questions. Get their perspective. Again, the more questions you ask, very often you can unwind what they're wrong about. They will discover it themselves. And when they can do that, when you become a master at asking the greatest questions to get them to realize that, that's going to bridge that gap between view and reality. Help them self-discover their own misperception of a situation. And if you catch yourself with a preconceived response to repeated request, if this request seems familiar, Catch yourself, know it, but give it full consideration. You're putting on a little bit of a front here, but listen to their reasoning behind the request. Not one size fits all. The more you listen, you may become more informed and certainly are going to show empathy, which is huge, huge to building trust and respect. Because when you actively listen, you're doing all the things I just suggested, you're sending a message. I'm here as your partner. I'm here to help. I'm here to listen and hear all that you have to say. And it's funny. The more you do this, the higher level the discussions will become. I think you'll really enjoy this as you practice it. But make sure you're maintaining eye contact. You're not using any non-verbal cues. Avoid your interruptions. Ask a lot of open-ended questions. Who, what, when, where, how, why. Tell me more. Share with me. Those sort of things. Elaborate. Get them to elaborate. Paraphrase and reflect. Summarize what they've said to confirm that you've understood it. For sure, you need to show your empathy, not sympathy. Show that you understand what's challenging them. And then, and only then, you can provide some feedback. Finally got to. It's a long journey. But as you work on this, become better and better at practicing this, when your constructive feedback is given, since you've heard them, they're going to hear you. There it is. In order to be heard, you have to listen. Because if you start interrupting them, you start giving them the answer, you cut them off, you dismiss them, well, their ears just got closed to any kind of feedback you're going to give them. What you suggest or offer them is not going to be heard. So in order to be heard, you have to listen. That's the key to all of it. There's the aha. Open their ears up by opening your ears up. And the benefits of all this is you get a better understanding of all situations. You improve your relationships. You get an enhanced level of problem solving. You're collaborating and you're engaging your team members at a much higher level. Through time, you'll become much better at reading your salespeople, picking up on signals that indicate that you understand what they truly want. And the best part of all of it is your effectiveness as a sales manager is going to soar. You're going to be sending a message. I'm here to help. I'm your partner in all this. At your back. And it also helps for your words, your coaching, your feedback to be heard. Listen first in order to be heard. It's going to help you gather much better information and make it a safe and pleasant environment for your sales team members. Because when they're coming to you with issues, ideas, or even just to talk, it's a great environment. That is the ultimate environment to have with your sales team. So, wrapping this up, becoming an active listener as a sales manager makes you truly inspiring. It fosters a positive team vibe. It engages your sales team at a much higher level. You show empathy. You get support. By focusing on understanding rather than solving their problems, it's you demonstrating respect and trust. And this enhances your ability to guide, to be heard, for them to listen to you so that you can support them at a better level, which boosts morale, boosts outcomes, improves the success of your sales team. It opens their mind to communication, but it's all up to you. Develop these active listening skills, and you're going to create a much more cohesive and motivated team. So, recap of this tactic. We defined active listening. We've recognized the impact of active listening on the sales success. You're building trust and gaining commitment from your sales team. You're enhancing the collaboration and the problem solving. Remember, you may be the smartest person in the room, but you're not as smart as the room. You're not as smart as the room. Their collective knowledge and experience will out-trump you almost any day. It opens honest conversations, open conversations. You'll get to root causes. You'll help them solve their own challenges. You'll prevent miscommunication, misdirection, misunderstanding, and you'll identify and leverage their strengths. You'll understand your people and their unique abilities and talents at a much higher level. And all this creates a much higher level of empowerment and job satisfaction. I hope this was valuable to you. Now, take some notes, get out there, get after it, and start using your ears to lead your team.